everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady. Today I am going to get this dark, boring corner of my foundation landscape replanted for the season. I've been gathering plants from a couple of different nurseries, including all these beautiful, colorful primroses. I also have a very special camellia and a fragrant Edgeworthia to plant here, along with some broccoli and cabbage starts that I just grabbed from a box store. So stay tuned to see how I go about reinventing this corner to make it one of the more interesting pockets in my home foodscape. Now, before I get too excited about bringing compost in and getting my new things planted, I have to deal with the reality that I have two existing stumps that are here, and really to do this bed properly I have got to get them out. And I was thinking about this. My tendency is to garden in kind of a somewhat of a passive way, at least physically passive way, and a lot of that just has to do with your own physical capacity, you know. And when I have conversations with my friend Jim Putnam of HortTube while we're working together on No Rules Gardening, it's really funny how we contrast each other in our approaches to gardening. And, you know, in part, it just boils down to me not really having the same kind of physical strength. Admittedly, I'm not in as good a shape right now because I've basically been sitting at a desk talking to people through Zoom for almost a year. I haven't been out working in the garden nearly as much as I would have liked, but I'm gonna try and do this the right way, and we'll see how well I do. So I probably shouldn't be as excited as I am that I was able to get those two stumps out, but it feels like a huge accomplishment on the first warm day of 2021. I'm gonna own that. So now my next step is to haul this compost shovel by shovel into the area, and then I can get the camellia planted, the Edgeworthia put in the ground. I can put in the ground cover of primroses, sprinkle some salad greens, and then ultimately finish it off with my favorite bagged mulch, because I couldn't get my trailer out because it's too wet to get my normal mulch. I will be using today ground-aged pine bark sold at box stores as soil conditioner. I can't wait to show you the finished product. Obviously, I don't like digging giant holes, which is why I like buying plants in smaller pot sizes. And I can tell you this from experience. All the plants will ultimately end up at the same size, so there really isn't a big advantage to going out and buying everything at a really high price, being in a 3-gallon, a 5 or a 7-gallon, or even worse, 10s or 15s. There's really no advantage to that. In fact, smaller plants, things like in a 1-gallon size, this is a great camellia, already growing, has full of flower buds, or even this 1-gallon Edgeworthia here. These will grow out super quickly, and in 2 or 3 years' time, you'll never even know what size I planted these as. So it's a great cost savings, and more importantly, it saves you from having to dig a killer hole. So you can see it didn't take me a lot of effort to dig a hole that's the right size for a pot like this. Now, before I plant this camellia, I want to show you a trick, and that involves using ground-aged pine bark, which I've already mentioned I'm going to use as my mulch media, but you can use that in the holes to be able to help acidify the soil, which will help keep your acid-loving plants like camellias extra happy. Key for primroses in the southeast, you've really got to just keep them kind of wet and shady through the summer. These ones have been bred for being perennial, but even here, the longest I've kept them alive is about 18 months. So I'm just hoping that I will have better success this time. These were bred by a dear friend and mentor of mine who passed away last summer, and these were actually the last seeds that he sowed. And so it's not that I am obsessed with growing primroses, It's that I just really want to have this little piece of Dr. Parks right here planted next to my front door, so when I look out I think of him. And for me, that's what gardening really is about. It's about the people that have gifted you plants or taught you about plants and encouraged you and, you know, get you out of your comfort zone to grow something that you might not think you can. And that's what this garden renovation really is revolving around. So the truth is, I've been renovating this pocket of my landscape for almost a year. We started cutting things down because it just looked overgrown and unkept and unwelcoming last spring, after this sweet little kitty, who was just a tiny kitten, fell into that pond. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't let the cat drown. So I started, you know, clearing this area that had been devoted to dwarf conifers that had overgrown. They're 10 years old and they had just, you know, started to not become so dwarf. And I just want to encourage you to, you know, look at your landscape and your garden in a way that it's never finished. You're always going to want to make changes to it and give yourself permission to really lean into that, recognizing that, you know, you're going to find new plants and you're going to develop new interests and you're going to use the space in a different way. And I'm really pleased with how this has turned out for this season. And I have no doubt that by the summer I will have a whole new idea of different things that I can grow in this area. And I look forward to sharing that with you in the future. So thank you so much for watching.